Welcome to another video. I'm Devin, your host here on Heavy Salt, and let's get into it. We're going to be going through the trailer for Oppenheimer and then reacting to it. So here is my reaction.
We imagine a future. And our imaginings horrify us. They won't fear it until they understand it.
I feel so pulled in, even though I already know like what Oppenheimer does in real life. So, but still, it's like crazy. Like you can feel the weight.
Theory will take you only so far. I don't know if we can be trusted with such a weapon. But we have no choice.
So crazy, just the understanding that what they were doing had such potential for danger, but that they had to do it so that they could make sure that the Nazis didn't do it and take over the world, you know?
About what's happening here.
That was a pretty cool trailer. Yeah, that was a pretty cool trailer. I mean, it's an interesting story. If you guys don't know, Oppenheimer was one of the scientists that helped the United States make the first atomic bomb. He worked along with Albert Einstein on the project, and it's well known that he was very much worried about the implications of what they were making and the possible dangers and atrocities that it could have been used for. And it's kind of crazy to think about. And then it looks like this movie is going to be heavily about like the about that internal turmoil that he had about creating such a powerful and destructive weapon, but that he understood that it needed to happen whether he wanted it to or not, to prevent a greater evil from making the same thing first and using it against everyone. Because if you notice, like the US, yes, we did use the atomic bomb. We used it to end World War II, but we haven't used it since. Like the fact we have that boom over cities obliterated type weapon, and we were the first ones to make it, and we've never once used it since World War II. It's just crazy. Like it shows America's desire to avoid civilian casualties and unnecessary casualties, and a decent understanding that of the sheer power and destruction that something like that can cause. We just, I mean, yes, there are, since then, there have been all kinds of like treaties and stuff about not using nuclear weapons. And nowadays, there's other countries that have them. And if we ever did use them now, they would likely fire back at us. But just the fact that we created that and we used it as little as our government felt needed at the time to show, hey, we have this power and it is not a one-time thing. We could use it to destroy you completely if we so chose. Back off. But that after that, we were like, okay, that was too crazy. We ain't doing that again unless absolutely necessary. Yeah, it's just crazy. And I love that there's a movie coming out about Oppenheimer. I feel like Albert Einstein gets a lot more of the credit for the atomic bomb. But Oppenheimer was at the very least just as crucial, if not more so, for that particular project. So that's pretty cool. I do worry that it's going to bring in a narrative about how all war is bad and how terrible it is to go to war. But there's times when, I mean, that's necessary. Like, war is not something you can always avoid. And sometimes it's necessary to prevent a greater, more dangerous war in the future. So I hope they don't play too heavily into that angle. But once it comes out, I'll check it out and let you know my thoughts. But yeah, overall, I think that the trailer was really good. I loved the cinematics of it. Some of the shots and the sound effects and all of that went into that trailer. It was a very quality made trailer. And it was one that really like pulls you in and very much builds anticipation, especially because you're talking about a person that like is relatively well known in history. Like, anybody that has looked into the history of the creation of the atomic bomb knows who Oppenheimer is, and so like seeing that it's slowly, like, it's Oppenheimer, but it's slowly building into like talking about the atomic bomb and just showing like the explosion and the water drops and like it did at the beginning. Like, that for me personally, that built anticipation for what was coming, and it made the trailer a lot more exciting, made me want to watch the movie more. Which I already wanted to watch it as soon as I saw that there was a movie about Oppenheimer. Because I think his story is a really interesting one. And I love that he was... I just love that he was very much worried about the dangers of building such a weapon, but he understood the necessity in that particular moment, in that particular situation, where things were at in the world. And understood that if we didn't build it, someone else would, and they would likely do worse with it. So, yeah, that's my thoughts. I'm definitely going to check out the movie, and I'll let you know my thoughts when I do. But yeah, that's it for this heavy salt video. Not too heavy on the salt on this one. This one was, again, a pretty good trailer. Yeah. Thanks. Peace.